Hey everybody, it's Marty, the JavaScript party, and my buddy Rhett. That was a funny noise she just made. Um, we are working here. It is 8:27, so I'm running late for sure, because I have to start work in 33 minutes. And so basically, I need to finish up this video, do some coding, and upload it to YouTube in the next 32 minutes, not 33 minutes, and all that. But I did want to kind of I love the fact that this code effort is happening in such slow motion. Like we are on super slow move, just watching every frame happen. And then I'm personally like sort of spending the next 24 hours sort of at least in the back of my head going, okay, now what's going on? What has happened right now? And I think the situation we're in at this moment is we're like a person, and this person has one outfit, but the person, and they just wear that outfit, and that's what they wear every day. And what we have done is now we have all we're like, oh, okay, we're gonna have a drawer for shirts, and we're gonna have a drawer for underwear, and we're gonna have a drawer for socks, and we're gonna have all this stuff, and we're gonna have like our winter drawer and our summer drawer, blah blah blah. We're gonna have all this stuff, but we only have one outfit, and it's like it takes forever to put all of our clothes back into those drawers and then take them all out when we want to wear it again. And it's just like we wash it, we put it in the drawers, and the next morning, what a huge waste of time. But the problem is that what we know is that with time, we're going to end up with 30 shirts, and that we're going to be doing all kinds of stuff, and it's going to be almost impossible if we just keep all this stuff together to be able to find anything. It'd be so. So you kind of have to go through a phase where you sort of create all these little separations for all these different things to be. And so we kind of have three sorts of efforts here. One is our interfaces where we sort of defined all our things. So we're like, okay, we have a thing called a shirt. We have a thing called pants. We have a thing called a whatever, belt. And we have all these different things, and we define them all in our interfaces, right? So we have these various interfaces, and we've just defined things, and we divided them up in several areas. And then we said, okay, I said, we know that there's sort of three sorts of, maybe four sets of work that we kind of want to have isolated from each other. And one is animations. So basically, animations are its own thing. The way animations work is completely independent of that. The animation logic, all it does is go through and figure out what time it is and where everything's supposed to be at that time. And that is complex. It gets really, really crazy. And we want to take that whole we don't want to mix that code up with other code. And then we have our ST code. And it's just like, hey, we have a way we like to organize things. And for the most part, it's almost identical to the way 3 likes to organize things, but we are slightly different, and we need to capture those differences in a way, because things get so confusing if we mix those two things together. And then there's 3. There are things the way 3 likes things done, and that's how it has to be done. They're the boss. They say how things are going to be done, and we do it. We do it the way they want to do it. And all the code that is to interact directly with the 3 API is in 3, and then we have utilities. And I actually have a whole video where I do sort of a research of a study of what utilities stand for, what it means. But basically, it's just like anything that just doesn't fit in. It's got its own sort of unique thing, and it's not that big, and it just sort of needs to be in a place. We need it, but we don't want it to always be in there. So we did all that, but all we have is the one outfit, and the one outfit doesn't even use this. And now, so we got all our drawers working, and we went through our process of using all the pieces in the drawer, and we got nothing, right? We should have, in this upper left-hand corner, we should have one of these we should have one of these little rectangles or something, probably more like a square rotating around, but we don't. And so I think I think right now the problem is that the camera is sitting at 000. And the biggest reason I think that, and this is like my fifth thing that I thought was the problem. So we've been trying to digging through, trying to figure out why my whole system that I've set up with all these separation of concerns and all that aren't fitting together to build what I want. And I've had like 4 or 5 different things that I thought weren't happening, and now my current thing is that the camera is sitting at 000, which coupled with another issue, which is it could be an issue, could not be an issue, but right now I default to only the outside of a mesh being rendered. So the inside doesn't get rendered. So what I believe the situation is right now is we have a camera that's sitting inside of a mesh, and that mesh is not rendering anything on the inside, so we can't see anything in it. And then since it's in the middle, it can't see the outside of the other mesh. So like if we had like like in this situation, if we could only see the outside and our camera was in the middle here, we'd still see no, if we're sitting in the middle, we would. There's no circumstance where we'd be able to see anything. But anyways, so that's the thing. And I guess what we should do, and I'll see what we have for console logs. So this is our 3 scene, and in here we should have a camera. No, we should not. It's under the visualization that we have a camera. So what we want to do is let's go into 3. So I did say set the position of the camera. Did we get that in the console log? Yeah, set the position of the camera. So I did have that, and I think that would fix things. Where are we on time? 8:34. Okay. So I don't think it'll be interesting what to do, but I do want to sort of validate my thought on that. So I'm going to go to 3 and render service. Okay. And I'm just going to say RS for render service 3 scene. And again, this is kind of like a problem that I've had many times, where I'm like, why isn't this rendering? Why isn't this rendering? And I'm like, oh, because the camera is directly in the middle of anything that you would be able to see. So I've just experienced this issue before, and so that gives me a bit of a leg up on that kind of thing. I think Brett just said a naughty word. We used to watch this show called Justified where they said a naughty word all of the time, and now and that was literally 20 plus years ago, and she still says that word all of that time. But they placed heavy emphasis on that word, and she was in a very important part of her development at that time, so she says it still. Is there a position? Yep. So yeah. So what I think is happening is that the camera is at 0 and it is at 0. I also believe that is why we can't see anything. So I believe that if the position was like, let's say 7Z or 10Z or something, or 3Z, we would be able to see the material. And let's go ahead and look at our scene. Let's see. I don't know what this... So I didn't realize a scene had a position. Seems weird that a scene would have a position, but that's not what we're here for. I would expect it to have some sort of list of materials. not materials, list of meshes. I don't know if I've been down this path. Yeah. So the children, it has something called children, which has a mesh, and our mesh is at 0, 0, 0, and I believe it had a thing called arguments or something. It's interesting that it has its own up. So this is saying that up for this material is what I would have thought up would be at the scene level. Um, but so we have a geometry, and that's what we have, and the geometry has attributes. Users, bounding sphere, that's weird. So it doesn't seem to have any attributes, and I think we did kind of figure that out the other day, but that by default it will have a width and height, but we don't have any. So I was kind of hoping to look in here and see a width and a height for the geometry, but there isn't one. So it's possible that we'll move the camera out to one to a place where it can look at it, but then there is no geometry to look at because there's no mesh to look at because the geometry doesn't have anything set in it. So it looks like we do have a couple of problems. Let's see, what is our time? 8:39. All right, so let's hit Alt and left to get us back to that place where we had this comment. Okay, so this is our create base camera. And so create set get camera by. So here's where we get the camera. Here is, where do we create the camera? Oh, here's where we create it. So what we want to do is set the width. No, set the position. So let's go to this. Do we want to go to definition? Yeah. Okay, so we really want to add another function here to set position. So we're going to say set camera position. So the thing that literally every time I argue with myself in my head is, should this say 3? Should I have the word 3 in front of there so that I can always be sure I know that it's a 3? And I believe what I like to do, what I'm trying to do, and I don't know if this is the best idea, but I'm going to say that I'm going to get a number, and then I'm going to get a position. I'm going to get a position. I think so. I think we want to get, and we want to get an ST position. And I believe that's a triplet. But we call it triplet. ST triple. And hopefully it knows how to find that. And it's going to return a number. It's just going to return the ID back. And then I think I call this, do I call this ID? I think I do call it ID. So we're going to return the ID. I'll just return the ID. And I don't know why I do that. Const. And that we're going to get a camera. And it's going to be a 3 camera. And it's not a 3 camera, it's a 3 perspective camera. And that is equal to this dot get camera by ID, which then we're going to give it the ID. And we have 2 3s here. So like I totally forgot about time, right? And I think that is why a lot of people like to code, because like it absorbs your entire brain so that like you get like a break from other things that you might be thinking about. And that's why coding can be such a wonderful hobby. And it's just a great way to spend your free time, or at least a little bit of your free time, so that like you can just get away from everything, and you know, you might even do something productive. Maybe not. That's not always the point, but you might. So now I'm going to take my camera and I'm going to set position. No. How about position equals? I think I might be able to set X. No. Okay. Position. And then I don't know if this is a function or an attribute. So it looks like this. Oh, it's a property. So that means this is a property. So we want to say like, and I guess it wants us to say new. How did it do it? It told us new 3, vector 3, and then this should just work. Oop, don't know why it moved. Is it 0? Or maybe, I think it might have been just 0. Zero, comma, 0. And I don't know why this is a problem. Oh, it's a read only. So now we go to ChatGPT. How do I set a camera? I am purposely being vague here. Position. Let's see if it knows I'm talking about ThreeJS. Yep, it knows because of things. Oh, set. That. And then we don't want to use this. We want to use st position dot stx. And I believe that, and that's supposed to be y, and this one's supposed to be z. And I believe this will put me out to z towards us. So I don't know. I don't know if this is going to work. We'll see. No. No. All right, so let's, what are we on time? 8:46. Okay, I'm just going to do a quick look at the console. Let's look at our camera. Let's look at the position. See, so the position is still 0, 0, 0. Oh, and it's because I don't think we actually called this function. I created the function, but I'd never called it. Okay. So this dot camera service, and I know it's 3 because it doesn't have that in there. It doesn't have anything in front of it. It doesn't have the st in front of it. And then it's going to be, so we have to create this st position before that. So I'm going to say const st position equals this right here. And this is a type of triplet. ST triple, which I think it just did an automatic inject. And then I can just get rid of this completely because it is the same name. So since this is the same name, and then we have our ID, so that's our camera ID. And we have our ST position. That should be all we need. And nothing. All right, it is 8:48. I have to start work in 12 minutes, so I gots to go. Happy coding, everybody. We'll work on this again tomorrow. Bye.